I'm Denny Daniel. I curate the Museum of Interesting Things, which is a traveling museum that goes to schools and libraries and events and shows people that their iPhones didn't pop out of thin air. I've kind of showed people the history of invention, all the links in the chain until you get to your iPhone. I often like to say it's like a circus, just no elephants. So I started the museum in the hope of doing something that inspired people, kind of doing a mitzvah job, I like to call it, because the only thing you really leave behind in your life is the people that you affect, the people that you change. And I wanted to do something that inspired people and brought back curiosity. So the hunt really is part of the whole fun and the history. I call it the missing link factor. And that's what a collector is. It has to do with the patterns. You know, you start going, oh, here's this link in the chain, and now I want to find that link and this link. And I teach kids all the way up to senior citizens. So when I'm doing the hunt, I try to find all the other links in the chain, and it becomes fun to figure out, oh, that's what came at this point, and that's what came at that point. One of my favorite items in the Museum of Interesting Things is one of the first cameras, camera obscura. So what you would have back, hundreds of years ago would be basically a box with a hole. Now this one is a little bit more elaborate because it's a French version and they have to be a little fancy schmancy. And it was a sketching device, so you would actually sketch the image. So this device here is a praxinoscope. It's kind of the French version of the zoetrope. They are from around the late 1800s, and it's basically an animation device. So with this one, you'd have the animation, the pictures on the edges here, and then you'd look in the mirrors to see the animation as I would spin this. And it was kind of a fun children's toy. So the Museum of Interesting Things has thousands of items. And being that it's called Interesting Things, I did that purposely so that I can do anything from fashion to literature to science to math to doing 16mm films. People said to me, so what happens to the Museum of Interesting Things if something happens to you? Do you have a will? What's going to happen to everything? And I thought about it. I was like, wow, I always loved this idea of a traveling museum, and I don't have to worry about some entrepreneur kicking me out. I don't have to worry about somebody being like, you can't do the, it travels. It's all good. There's no home, and I can travel and have fun. But that's true. What happens to me? What happens to the items? I'm going to devise a way so that the museum gets donated to New York, so that it becomes part of the fabric of New York and then America. If I build a museum full of thousands of items that becomes an educational center that travels and people come to, and that's the way it becomes legacy work for everyone. And everyone involved, from you people watching and learning from it to me and the people curating it, will become part of that fabric. Now we're all curators and we all own it. And that's what needs to happen to it. And I'll find a way to make that happen. One step beyond! Sorry, we had to do it.